The mission looked straightforward on paper. Slip inside the enemy compound, grab the intelligence package, and vanish before first light. But when Lieutenant Commander Jack Ryden's SEAL element reached the ridge serving as their observation post, they understood in an instant that the plan had already gone sideways. 7 sniper nests, Ryden muttered into the comms, sweeping the target area through his scope and clocking the elevated, overlapping fields of fire that sealed off every possible approach. This isn't standard Overwatch. Somebody knew we were coming. His team was frozen 300 meters short of the objective with nowhere to go. 7 enemy sharpshooters had transformed a routine infiltration into a death trap, because any push forward meant walking straight into stacked kill zones all at once. Phantom 1, this is Grid Command, the controller responded. Can you neutralize the snipers? Ryden surveyed his men. 8 SEALs, all solid shots. But they were low, and the enemy held the high ground with cover, making a meaningful engagement impossible without burning the entire observation post. Negative grid eye. Too many dug-in shooters. Requesting alternate extraction. Then a steady voice carrying a faint Texas drawl broke into the channel. Phantom 1, Spectre 3. I have eyes on all 7 sniper positions. Give me 12 minutes and those lanes will be wide open. Ryden went rigid. He had never heard of Spectre 3, and no sniper support had been mentioned in the briefing, but command answered without a pause. Phantom 1, hold your position and allow Spectre 3 to work. Over the next 12 minutes, Ryden's team watched something that would later be pulled apart in advanced sniper courses. 7 disciplined, entrenched marksmen dropping one after the other with such seamless stealth that none of them sensed they were being hunted until they took their last breath. Once the final rooftop threat went quiet and the compound lay exposed, Ryden keyed his mic. Spectre 3, Phantom 1, identify. The reply came back dry and to the point. Just someone who hates watching good operators get pinned down. Routes are clear. I'll hold Overwatch. What the SEALs hadn't figured out yet was that Staff Sergeant Kate Harlow had already been watching that compound from a height a full 1,000 meters out for 3 straight days, mapping enemy rotations and quietly preparing for her own assignment. They were about to discover that the most dangerous person on any battlefield is often the one nobody notices until the moment has already passed. Before I walk you through how one sniper dismantled 7 enemy shooters in 12 minutes and cracked open a door every analyst had marked impossible. Drop a comment with where you're watching from and hit subscribe. This is Old Bill's Tales, and this mission is a masterclass in what patience, precision, and preparation can do when the odds look impossible. 3 days earlier, Staff Sergeant Kate Harlow had been lying completely motionless inside her hide for 6 solid hours. The sun was finally sinking as she controlled every exhale, letting herself dissolve into the jagged rock around her 1,000 meters from the objective. Most people struggle to sit still for 6 minutes. Kate had trained herself to stay frozen for 6 hours straight, then do it all over the following day without a word of complaint. At 29, she carried 8 years in the Marine Corps as a scout sniper, the last 4 spent inside a reconnaissance unit that worked in places no official paperwork ever acknowledged. She was one of only 3 women serving as snipers in that unit, and the only operator who had completed the Advanced Urban Sniper program with a perfect score. Her assignment sounded clean, but demanded absolute precision. Watch the compound, track enemy routines, flag every high-value individual, and when the moment came, eliminate the compound's commander to disrupt operations across the entire region. She and her spotter, Corporal Tom Briggs, had moved into position 3 days prior. Briggs now sitting 200 meters off to her left inside a secondary hide. They had built 2 positions, so that if one was burned, The other could cover and protect. Spectre 3. This is Spectre 3 Alpha. Briggs murmured into her earpiece. Sun's down. Time to stretch. Copy, Kate whispered, beginning her slow repositioning. Every shift was deliberate, her movements tiny and controlled as she eased from one carefully built posture into another that let circulation return to half-numb limbs without breaking her concealment. Her rifle, a custom M4A6 fitted with a suppressor and night optics, stayed fixed on the compound the entire time. Not once did she let her barrel drift off target. Through her scope, the compound held sharp, even as daylight faded. It was a hardened stronghold the enemy used as a regional headquarters. Thick walls, guard towers, multiple structures inside the perimeter. Intelligence indicated the commander coordinating strikes across the sector was operating from within. But it wasn't the buildings that held Kate's focus. It was the sniper positions. 7 elevated hides ringed the compound, and they were anything but amateur work. These weren't random sentries. They were trained shooters with quality equipment, clean sectors of fire, disciplined rotation cycles, and solid concealment. Someone had prepared them well. "Briggs, are you picking up these sniper positions?" Kate whispered. "Roger," counted 7. "They've got overlapping fire covering every approach. Nothing gets close." Kate studied each hide through her optic, committing their layout to memory. The positions were well constructed, blended into natural cover, and placed to maximize range while exposing almost nothing. It was professional craftsmanship. "These aren't local fighters," she muttered. "These are trained snipers. Somebody brought in specialists to protect this site. Makes sense if there's command inside." "They're not leaving anything to chance," Briggs replied. Over the next 2 days, Kate documented everything about those hides, which had the cleanest angles, which rotated more frequently, marking them as priority posts, which shooters stayed sharp and which ones drifted into complacency. She tracked every shift, every habit, every crack in their rhythm. She wasn't entirely sure why she was collecting such granular data on the snipers, since her task was to remove the compound commander, not tangle with the defensive perimeter. But Kate had learned a long time ago that the broader your understanding of a battlefield, the more options you had when everything shifted, and things always shifted. On the 3rd night during her evening observation cycle, Briggs's voice broke through with an urgency he almost never showed. "Spectre 3, I've got movement. American operators. Looks like a SEAL element coming in from the North Valley." Kate swung her scope toward the coordinates Briggs referenced and felt a cold weight settle in her gut. 8 operators in full kit were advancing with solid fieldcraft directly toward the compound and straight into the reach of the sniper kill zones. "Briggs, are they on any frequency we can reach?" "Scanning. Got them. They're running standard JSO CTAC. Want me to make contact?" "Negative. Let me listen first." Kate tuned to the frequency Briggs provided and listened. The SEALs were running final reconnaissance, moving toward a vantage point that would give them coverage of the compound. She then heard the team leader, Ryden, based on his call sign, report what he had spotted. 7 elevated sniper hides with overlapping fire coverage. Kate had been studying those positions for 3 days. She knew their arcs, their dead zones, their rotation cycles, and she knew that if the SEALs pressed forward with those shooters still active, the result would be catastrophic. She listened as Ryden reported the mission compromised, resignation creeping into his voice as he recognized his team couldn't advance. Kate shifted her gaze from the 7 sniper hides she had memorized to the SEAL team pinned in the valley below. She made a tactical decision in 3 seconds flat, then keyed her mic to the SEAL frequency. "Phantom 1, this is Spectre 3. I have eyes on all 7 sniper nests. Give me 12 minutes and your route will be open. A moment of silence. Then Ryden responded, cautious but disciplined. Spectre 3, identify. Before Kate could answer, command cut in. Phantom 1, stand by and let Spectre 3 execute. Spectre 3, you are cleared for engagement. Make it clean. Ryden acknowledged, though she could hear the confusion underneath. He almost certainly assumed she was some classified asset, Delta, CIA, or a program with deeper clearance. They had no clue she was a Marine scout sniper who had simply landed in the right place with 72 hours of reconnaissance on every threat they needed removed. Briggs, Kate whispered to her spotter. I'm going to take all 7. Hold your position and be ready to back me if this falls apart. Copy. You want me to push this to our command? Not yet. Let's see if I can actually pull this off. Kate settled behind her rifle, her breathing slow and even. 7 trained snipers. 12 minutes. Distances ranging from 600 to just over 1,000 meters. Each one capable of alerting the others the moment anything felt wrong. She would need everything she had built across 8 years of work. She started with the sequencing. 7 shots in 12 minutes. Target order in a multi-engagement scenario isn't guesswork. It's a precise sequence selected by threat priority, detection risk, and the cascading effect of each elimination. She studied them through her optic, her mind running the numbers that thousands of training hours had drilled into muscle memory. Target 1, Sniper Hide 3, elevation 1,450 on the eastern ridge. That shooter had the broadest visual access to the other positions. Taking him first removed one more set of eyes that could catch muzzle flash or lens glint. Range 847 meters. Wind 3 to 5 miles per hour out of the west. Temperature dropping fast as night settled in, and that shift would play directly into her ballistic calculations. Kate dialed her scope, corrected for the cooling air, steadied her breathing, and waited for the natural pause between heartbeats. The suppressed M4A6 released a muted exhale rather than a shot. The recoil was familiar, almost calming. Through her optic, she tracked the round's path across 847 meters, reaching its mark in just over a second. The sniper in position 3 collapsed without a sound, no warning sent to anyone. Time elapsed, 1 minute. Kate cycled her bolt, smooth and automatic, and chambered a fresh round. She didn't register the kill. She simply moved to the next threat. Target 2, position 7 on the western ridge, 900 to 23 meters out. That shooter covered the SEAL team's most likely route in, so removing him would open their approach. The winds on that ridge behaved differently. The compound generated a small microclimate that distorted airflow, and Kate had tracked those patterns for 3 days running. She compensated without hesitation and fired. Target 2 dropped. Time 2 minutes 15 seconds. None of the remaining 5 had reacted. 2 of their own were dead, and they had no idea. Target 3, position 5, northern tower, 654 meters. The closest hide to Kate's position, and therefore the riskiest, if he caught even a faint glint from her scope. The shorter distance reduced environmental drift, but the tower's elevation gave him a superior angle. Kate corrected for the upward shot and pressed the trigger. The sniper toppled forward over his weapon, looking for all the world like he had dozed off on post. Time, 3 minutes 45 seconds. Target 4, position 2 on the southern ridge at 1,089 meters. That was pushing the edge of her rifle's effective range under current conditions. And this shooter was the sharpest of the group, alert and disciplined, difficult to eliminate without raising suspicion. A subtle breeze shift brushed her cheek before her instruments registered it. She adjusted her hold, accounted for the extended distance, and fired. She watched the round arc across the kilometer of open space, drop in the final stretch, and land exactly where she intended. The sniper sagged sideways, his rifle sliding free. Time, 5 minutes 30 seconds. 3 targets remained, and none of them suspected anything was wrong. Target 5, position 6 on the eastern approach, 789 meters out. That shooter held the clearest angle on the compound's main gate. Removing him would open the SEAL team's primary infiltration corridor. But Position 6 had been built differently from the others, more enclosed and better concealed, leaving Kate only a narrow window of the sniper's head and shoulders to work with. She waited, unhurried, watching the hide through her optic, until the shooter shifted his stance and briefly exposed his full profile for a 3-second window. Kate fired. Target 5 never sensed what killed him. Time, 7 minutes 20 seconds. 2 positions left. Positions 1 and 4, both watching the northern approach. Target 6, position 1, 712 meters. That shooter faced away from Kate's hide, scanning the same valley where the SEAL team waited, giving her a clean angle while also making him the one most likely to spot the SEALs if they advanced too soon. Kate fired without hesitation. Target 6 pitched forward, his rifle clattering off the ledge and dropping nearly 10 feet below. Time, 9 minutes 10 seconds. 1 final target. Position 4, 968 meters, elevated and tucked behind hardened sandbags. The hardest shot she had saved for last, not out of confidence, but because this was the hide she had seen rotate unpredictably. If she had needed to abort, this one could have waited. But 9 minutes in with 0 detection meant it was time to finish. The sniper in position 4 was skilled, very skilled. His discipline was strong, his movements minimal, and he used the shadowed cover well. Kate tracked him through her scope, searching for her opening. His head barely cleared the sandbags, the darkness complicating her range estimate. She waited 1 minute, then a second. Time, 11 minutes. Then he shifted suddenly, adjusting his optic and exposing his head and upper chest for a brief 3-second gap. Kate squeezed the trigger. The suppressed rifle sent its final round, and across 968 meters, the bullet cut through the night with surgical precision. Target 7 fell back into his hide and disappeared behind the sandbags. Time, 11 minutes 47 seconds. 7 enemy snipers eliminated. 7 clean shots, all gone in under 12 minutes without a single alert raised. Kate cycled her bolt, chambered fresh ammunition, and keyed her mic on the SEAL frequency. Phantom 1, Spectre 3. All sniper positions neutralized. You are clear to move. I will hold overwatch. Down in the valley, Ryden had been watching what little he could. He couldn't see Spectre 3's hide or most of the enemy nests, but he saw the result. Snipers had stopped scanning, stopped shifting, stopped being threats. Phantom 1 copies, he replied, awe threaded beneath his otherwise steady tone. That's the finest long gun work I've ever seen. Spectre 3, location? Elevated hide northwest of your position. I'll stay silent and unseen. You handle your part. I'll handle mine. Ryden looked at his men. 8 SEALs who had just watched an invisible ally dismantle 7 fortified snipers faster than they could have planned a single assault. All right, team, he said. Routes are open. Don't waste what Spectre 3 just handed us. Clean infiltration. Standard entry. We pull the package and disappear before anyone realizes we were here. The SEAL element pushed forward with precision, using the corridor Kate had cleared by eliminating position 6. They crossed the valley in 4 minutes, reached the compound wall, and began their breach. From her hide, Kate tracked them through her scope. covering every arc of possible danger. The sniper threat was gone, but guards, patrols, and quick reaction forces were still inside. Spectre 3, Phantom 1, at inner wall moving on the vault. Copy. 2 guards behind you inside the compound. They haven't spotted you yet, but they're heading your direction. You want them dropped? Kate sighted in on the guards. Range 1,500 meters, partially shielded behind the interior wall. She had a narrow gap. I can hit them, but the compound will go loud. How close are you to the package? 30 seconds. Then move. I'll wait until you secure it before I clear your exit. She watched the SEALs work. They were excellent. Within 20 seconds, they had breached the vault, and Raiden came back over comms. Package secured, moving to extract. And that was when the operation came apart. An enemy patrol stumbled across the breach point. Alarms blared. Floodlights blazed to life. Fighters poured from the barracks with weapons up. "Phantom 1, we're compromised," Raiden reported, his voice steady even through the chaos. Kate heard them engaging and shifting to alternate exfil. She tracked the SEALs as they crashed into close-quarters fighting, outnumbered at least 10-1 as the compound erupted into a full combat zone. "Briggs!" Kate called to her spotter. "I'm going active overwatch for their exfil. Mark targets. Copy. Jesus. I'm counting at least 40 hostiles converging on them. 40 enemies, 8 SEALs, and 1 sniper a kilometer out who could start evening the math." Kate settled behind her rifle and went to work. Enemy troops were flooding toward the SEALs from multiple directions, standard counter-raid movement, but most were crossing open ground where she had unobstructed lines. Her first shot went to an officer shouting orders at 934 meters. The round put him down and threw the enemy's coordination into immediate chaos. She cycled her bolt, located a machine gunner preparing to lay fire on the SEALs at 1,087 meters, and dropped him before his weapon fired once. Spectre 3, Phantom 1, taking heavy fire from the east courtyard, Raiden reported. Kate shifted to the courtyard and found 6 fighters shooting from partial cover. She worked through them methodically. Fire, bolt, fire. 4 down in under 20 seconds. The remaining 2 realized an external shooter was picking them apart and sprinted for cover. Kate tracked the first mid-run and hit him. The last one reached concealment, but when he leaned out to engage the SEALs, she had a 2-second window and used it. "Briggs, feed me targets. Priority on heavy weapons and anyone directing movement." "Roger, RPG team on the north wall, prepping to fire on the SEAL extraction vehicles." Kate found the team through her optic, 2 fighters with a rocket system that could destroy the SEAL extraction. She shot the gunner at 896 meters, then the loader who spun in panic trying to locate her. The rocket dropped harmlessly to the ground. "Phantom 1, Spectre 3, your exfil lane is clear of heavy weapons. Maybe 20 hostiles left, but they're disorganized and taking hits. Copy Spectre 3. Moving now, and you just saved our lives again," Raiden replied. Kate continued working Overwatch as the SEALs fought toward extraction, breaking every attempt the enemy made to reorganize by eliminating whoever tried to lead them. Any fighter carrying a heavy system never got a shot off. She was burning ammunition far faster than planned. Her loadout was built for precision, not sustained fire, but she wasn't about to let the SEALs get buried after everything they had risked. "Spectre 3, Phantom 1, we're at exfil. Aircraft inbound. We're clear. Copy. Get out. I'll cover you until wheels up. Negative Spectre 3. You're coming with us. Send your coordinates for pickup." Kate glanced at the hide she had spent 3 days building and at Briggs's alternate position 200 meters away. "Negative Phantom 1. I have my own exfil. If I break concealment now, every fighter out there will know exactly where I've been shooting from. Better I stay invisible. Get your people out, Commander." Consider it an order from someone who technically outranks field ops. Go. She could hear Ryden's frustration and his acceptance underneath it. The helicopters arrived, rotor beats reaching even her distant hide. The SEALs boarded. The mission was finished. Spectre 3, when we're back, I'm tracking down who you are and buying you the most expensive drink on the menu. I'll hold you to that. Safe flight, Phantom 1. Spectre 3 going dark. Kate watched the aircraft lift off, bank hard, and vanish into the night toward friendly lines. Then she turned her gaze back to the compound, now fully awake, lights blazing, fighters searching frantically for a sniper they would never find. Briggs, we're holding another 24 hours. Let them search. Let them guess. When they stop, we move. Copy. And that was extraordinary shooting. 7 snipers, then Overwatch. I counted 19 more down from your position. Just the job. Now let's stay hidden and live to do it again. 2 days later, Kate and Briggs returned to their forward base, filthy, exhausted, and alive. They had held their hides for 30 hours after the SEAL extraction, watching the enemy sweep the terrain for a ghost who left no trace. Once the search ended and the compound settled, Kate and Briggs exfiltrated along a pre-planned route through ground the enemy couldn't cover, reaching a pickup point 12 kilometers from their hide. Staff Sergeant Harlow, Corporal Briggs, welcome back, Major Claire Ortega said as they entered the operations center. I hear your last few days were eventful. Yes, ma'am, Kate answered, settling in for a long debrief. Primary mission complete. Documented command patterns, identified high-value targets. Then we got pulled into someone else's operation. Got pulled in, Ortega raised a brow, pulling up a report. According to SEAL Team 7's after-action summary, Spectre 3, which is you, eliminated 7 snipers in 12 minutes and then provided overwatch that neutralized another 19 enemy combatants, directly enabling mission success when they were minutes from aborting against overwhelming defenses. We had the position and the intelligence. Felt wrong to let it go to waste, Kate said. Ortega studied her with the look of a commander caught between praising initiative and reprimanding someone for stepping well outside mission boundaries. Staff Sergeant, you independently chose to engage 26 enemy combatants, expose your position, and directly support a classified SEAL operation you were neither briefed on nor cleared to assist. Kate held her commander's gaze without blinking. Yes, ma'am. That's correct. And by doing so, Ortega continued, you enabled a SEAL element to extract critical intelligence that has already driven 3 successful strikes on enemy leadership. Intelligence that would have been lost entirely if the team had pulled back. Yes, ma'am. Ortega paused, then allowed a small smile. Exceptional work, Staff Sergeant. Exactly the initiative we expect from our scout snipers. Their team commander personally requested to thank you in person, and SOCOM is putting you in for a commendation. Thank you, ma'am. But Briggs deserves equal recognition. His spotting and security were flawless, already written into the report. You're both being recognized. 3 days later, Kate was summoned to an unexpected meeting. Inside a secure briefing room sat Lieutenant Commander Jack Ryden and 3 members of his SEAL team. Staff Sergeant Harlow, Ryden said, rising to shake her hand. Phantom 1. Also known as the guy whose life you saved twice in one night. Commander. Glad you made it back. Thanks to you. I've been doing this for 12 years, and I've worked alongside some of the finest snipers alive. What you executed out there, 7 targets in 12 minutes, and then sustained overwatch past 1,000 meters, is the most impressive shooting I have ever witnessed. Just did my job, sir. No, Ryden said. That was you reading a tactical collapse, solving it with perfect precision, and then supporting us far beyond anything anyone could have expected. The intelligence we pulled has already saved American lives. You made that possible." One of the SEALs, Chief Danny Voss, added, "Ma'am, we were convinced you were some classified Delta asset or a deep cover operator. Finding out you're a Marine sniper who was simply in the right place with the right skill set, that's somehow even more impressive." Kate allowed a small smile. Sometimes being in the right place at the right time accounts for most of the work. "No, ma'am," Ryden said. "Having the ability and the guts to act in that moment, that's the job, and you owned it." 6 months later, the ceremony was small and classified. The mission could never be made public, but the valor could still be recognized. Kate stood at attention as Major General William Trace pinned the Silver Star to her uniform, the nation's third highest award for combat heroism. Staff Sergeant Harlow's actions directly enabled a critical intelligence operation and preserved the lives of 8 American Special Operations personnel. The citation read, "Through extraordinary marksmanship and decisive judgment, she eliminated 26 enemy combatants at ranges exceeding 1,000 meters while under indirect fire. Her conduct reflects the highest standards of military service." When the general departed, Ryden approached her again. "You know," he said, "SEAL Team 7 has an opening. Liaison for Marine Scout Snipers. Someone who understands long gun work and joint operations. Someone who has proven themselves under pressure." Interested. Kate considered it. The role meant harder missions, more joint work, more operations alongside teams like his. Will it involve more situations where I'm 1,000 meters out clearing threats while SEALs kick in doors? Ryden smiled. "Absolutely." "Then yes, sir. I'm interested." "Outstanding. Welcome aboard, Spectre 3. Something tells me we're going to work well together." 2 years later, the Cadre legend had taken root. The story of Spectre 3 spread through sniper schools, SEAL briefings, and the wider special operations community, told as one of those rare missions where the impossible became real. 7 enemy snipers erased in 12 minutes, with none of them ever knowing they were being hunted. Sustained overwatch that turned a doomed mission into a clean intelligence victory. Kate Harlow, now Gunnery Sergeant Harlow after a rapid promotion, continued operating in joint special operations, supporting 15 major missions and providing sniper coverage for SEAL teams, Delta Force, and CIA Special Activities units. Her official count remained classified, though anyone who had worked beside her understood it was significant. What mattered more was that having her on a mission meant friendly forces had overwatch from someone capable of making shots that shouldn't exist and solving tactical problems nobody else could touch. Kate never allowed the legend to define her. She kept her focus on fundamentals, precision, patience, repetition. She trained without stopping, mentored younger snipers, and approached every assignment with the same meticulous preparation that had built everything she was. "You want to know the real secret?" she told a group of Scout Sniper students during a guest lecture. "It's not about pulling off impossible shots. It's about preparing so thoroughly that impossible shots become the expected outcome. It's about knowing your environment better than anyone else on the field, staying patient when everything around you is pushing you to rush, and acting decisively in the moment when everyone else is still hesitating." She nodded toward them. "Those 7 snipers, the ones everyone asks about, that wasn't luck or some gift I was born with. It came from 72 hours of watching, recording, and preparing. When the moment arrived, I already had every angle, every range, every variable locked into my mind. I had been rehearsing the engagement without realizing it." A student raised his hand. "Gunnery Sergeant, how do you stay calm in a situation like that?" 7 targets, 12 minutes, SEALs depending on you." Kate thought about it. You stay calm by trusting the work you already put in, by knowing you prepared for that moment long before it ever arrived. You concentrate on the process instead of the outcome. I wasn't thinking about all 7 targets at once. I thought about one, then the next, then the one after that. One round at a time. One problem at a time. And honestly, I was terrified. My hands were shaking right before the first shot. But I had trained through fear so many times that it didn't change anything. Fear is information. It tells you the stakes are real, but it doesn't get to decide what you do. The students absorbed this, the idea that even the snipers people whisper about feel terror and doubt. The difference is in how you respond. Now operating as Master Sergeant Kate Harlow, she peered through her scope at a compound 800 meters out. Different country, different hide, same essential task, precision fire and support for operators who depended on her unseen presence. Beside her, her new spotter, Corporal Amy Carver, ran wind and range data. Winds picking up, 3 to 5 from the west with gusts, Carver reported. Good catch. Adjust your holds accordingly, Kate replied. They had occupied their hide for 2 days, studying enemy movement and building toward a mission scheduled for that night. And just as she had 2 years before, Kate knew that when the moment to act arrived, she would be ready. Not because she was the legend Spectre 3 had become in the stories people told, but because she was Kate Harlow, a Marine scout sniper who trusted preparation, trusted precision, and understood the responsibility she carried for everyone who depended on her. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Old Bill's Tales for more stories of extraordinary soldiers in uniform.